Danny Schmidt, one of the senior staff archaeologists with the Jamestown Rediscovery Archaeological Project. It's the beginning of August. We've been excavating out here through what's got to be the hottest summer on record in southeastern Virginia. We've opened up 24 10-foot by 10-foot squares so far this digging season, and we're about to open many more behind me to our west. We may have, within the last few days, begun to unearth what remains of the 1608 church. We have 4 substantial post holes in this area right before me. So we're going to be, the building goes to the west in this direction, it's oriented east-west. We're keeping our fingers crossed that this is going to end up being that church. Now what we have to do to move this way is remove what is actually modern backfill here. We got a foot of that. This is fill we actually put here in the mid-1990s to raise the level of the land. We had a low spot here. Now we have not excavated this unit yet, so we'll be removing that using a backhoe. And underneath that we have a road here that dated from the late 19th century to it was still being used when we started here in the mid-90s. So once we've removed that road, we will reach the level of subsoil here, where hopefully we'll start to pick up more post holes associated with this building that we think may be the 1608 church. Okay, it's 2 days after we started this excavation here behind me of this 10-foot by 10-foot square in search of another one of the post holes to this very large post building. Half of the square came down on the natural subsoil, the orange clay where we didn't see where we didn't find a post hole. However, where the post hole should be is underneath what looks to be a backfilled ravine or backfilled very large erosion ditch. And it looks like this ditch or ravine was filled in the early 20th century. So what we're going to do now is remove some of the fill from this feature in hopes of finding this post hole. So here we go. Good news, we've removed all the fill from this ravine here, this 20th century fill, and sure enough, yet another very large post hole, possibly relating to the 1608 church. The hole itself is about 4 feet by 4 foot square, and in the middle we can see the physical spot where the wooden post would have been for the structure. This circle right here, about 1 foot in diameter, and it's exactly 12 feet away from the post to our east. We're on the northern wall of the structure. So far, things are looking good for our theory that this is indeed a strong candidate for the 1608 church. To get to this level where we saw this post hole, we had to remove multiple layers of modern fill. We had our own backfill from about 5 years ago. We had 2 layers of the old road bed, gravel layer here and a loam layer below that. And then we got into the fill from when APVA, or Preservation Virginia, likely made the decision to fill this gully or ravine back in the early 20th century. And what we have here is a lot of mixed brick flakes, brick bats, and mortar. But we did have modern artifacts mixed amongst that, including a .22 shell casing. Beneath that we have some old utility lines, and 1 layer of clay before we finally reached the bottom of the ravine here. And this ravine, what we think it initially was likely a place where soil was removed or mined away to be used just to our north for the Confederate shore battery for the Civil War earthwork. That's our best theory now. As we move further to the west, we'll undoubtedly learn much more about this ravine.